Okay, so we've done the first two key steps in the process for using RubiRecruit. We've set up the folders for the key files, so the platform can now access the data that it needs to. The next step we need to do is create the rubric. This is where RubiRecruit really differentiates from a lot of other platforms in the market, which when it comes to sort of AI evaluation of CVs and cover letters, can be a little bit black boxy. There's no real framework, transparent framework or process for the evaluation. It sort of just does percentage matching type screening. So what we're going to do is we're going to generate that rubric. Now I'm going to hit that button there. What it's first going to do as a first step is actually pick up all of the CVs and cover letter documents, take a quick look at them and match up any CVs to cover letters. So, cover letters I've seen from the last 6 to 12 months or so have started kind of dropping off as being a sort of requirement for most roles. So if you've got half of your candidates have got cover letters, half may not, this is actually just going to go intelligently match them all. All of that context will be used in the evaluation. What it's then going to go do is spend about 30 to 60, sometimes 70 seconds to create the rubric. What it's going to do is take the position description text that it passed out of the document earlier and run it through a series of prompts, which basically say your job is to create a world-class evaluation matrix for this role for candidates to be evaluated against. It's going to create 8 weighted categories, and within each category there'll be 5 sub-attributes that'll all be weighted. It's going to create descriptions for each of those attributes and scoring criteria for every one of those attributes. So it's going to be this pretty significant piece of data really around how to evaluate people against your role, which you can then obviously manually adjust and edit. I'm going to hit pause now because this is going to run for a minute or two, and I'll come back and we can talk about what that rubric looks like. Cheers. Okay, I'm back. That ran for a couple of minutes. As you can see here now, step 3 has turned green with a little tick there, now saying it's done. So let's jump over to that tab down the bottom here and take a look at what it's actually done. Okay, so I'm going to go to here, A2 dynamic rubric configuration, and pull this up. So this page was actually blank a minute or two ago, had nothing on it apart from the headers. So what it's done is taken the PD and looked at what a world-class evaluation framework would look like for that particular role. So it's highly bespoke. So you can see here for this engineering role, which I come up with, technical design and standards mastery is the highest weighted category at 18%. And then there's 5 sub-attributes here, civil works, design leadership, etc., etc. So this is the rubric that gets created. So there are 40 attributes, all weighted from sort of highest to lowest here on the left-hand side, with the descriptions for each of those attributes, and then importantly, the scoring framework across to the right for each of those attributes from 0 up to a score of 5. This is what the Gemini model is going to evaluate each candidate against. And this is what I love about the platform. It's not using AI in sort of a really broad, unhinged way. It's like tightly bounding it to this harness that it's going to operate within. And it does it in a really, really intelligent way. I'm constantly impressed anytime I process a bunch of candidates. So that is the rubric generation. What it's also done in the background is match up those CVs to cover letters. So if I go to here, A3 document mapping, I've now got a neat summary of all of the candidates, the CV files and the cover letters. Again, these are fake people that have just got dummy CVs sitting on the internet. As you can see, there's no CVs or no cover letters in this instance. But had there been cover letters, this would have matched it intelligently, and you would see that populated there. So that's that. What you can do now is go and adjust that rubric if you want to. You could completely change this whole page. As long as there is the 8 categories and the 40 attributes with the right content in there, it's going to function fine. What I've found with a lot of people that have tested the platform, though, is that the default version of this is actually insanely good. So you might want to tweak a weighting of a category, but you're probably not likely to need to make wholesale changes. Yeah, so what we can do now is hit lock rubric. What that's going to do is lock this page and allow us to then start processing candidates.